now to the presentation.
Canva for the win
That's a
again.
lot of files. I'm like, ooh,
Because
Jesus.
Doc is very busy. It's a bit much. It's becoming overwhelming, but I'm hanging in there. Right. So we're going to talk about three things today, and of course, I'll leave room for questions and wrap up. Any little bit of housekeeping that we may have, because of course, anything to do with the course overall, anything that you may be having challenges with the program, as this is the one time that I'll see you all, you can take that opportunity, of course, to raise anything. So I'm very conscious of the time. With this course, we operate a little differently because this now is a business course, a little different from arts, culture, and society. And so in this course, time essence, in the sense that I like to know that we are hitting our targets. You will find that the lectures will be approached a little differently. Sometimes you will actually have some work to do within the lectures. There'll be some workshopping. But for the most part, I try to keep it in a way that I am sure that by the time you do leave the lecture, you are relatively clear on what you are being asked to do. I'm saying relatively because I know psychologically we have the comfort of the PowerPoint being there and the recording being there. So, we can tell ourselves that if there's something that we're not clear on, we can always revert to that after the actual lecture. Be that as it may, I'm always available if there's something that you're not clear on, especially if it is that you have something to prepare. Feel free, of course, to reach out. As usual with me, you'll receive the course outline next week. It's pretty much done, but I do want to convert it into a more user-friendly format for using on your tablet or phone if it is, or your laptop, if you decide that you don't want to do much printing, especially given the times that we're in. So let's just talk about the course though. Although we don't have the course online, we can certainly get into what the course is about because, of course, I want to set you on your way in terms of tending to some basics that when we come next week, that you have something to work with as we begin to actually get into some of the work of the course next week. So I will look at what the course is about. We'll talk a bit about course requirements, and I will want to visit formulating project ideas, very important, with the intention of giving you enough that you can certainly ponder on over the course of the week. And next week, we will come back with you coming up with some kind of idea. I am going to place a worksheet on the platform for you to use to help you come up with the project ideas. It's actually a game. Olimal might remember it, but it's a very useful game and it works all the time. But you can't cheat it. And I'll try and see if I can pull it up before we go that you can at least see what it looks like. All right, so let's go. All right, so what is this course about? Now, you will see when you get the course outline, and if you remember when you saw the brochure, when I would have
Excuse me,
posted
Dr.
it.
Tal.
Yes,
Have you changed slides from the first one?
yes, I did.
Because nothing has changed for me. I don't know if it's the same thing for everybody else.
So it
Same.
has,
I'm just seeing a white screen actually.
so
Yeah.
it's actually frozen. Are you
This is
seeing
what
what?
was happening yesterday as well.
So something is wrong with the Teams.
You
Um,
have to come, stop sharing and then share over. That was the fix.
what? My goodness. Huh. I wonder if I could do this a different way.
Stop sharing screen and then
You
share screen.
actually can. It's called Zoom.
I would love to go back there. I think that this is.
Yeah.
I would love to go back there. Trust and believe. Um, I am actually thinking.
Go down on the date.
Ah, I know what I'll do. Give me 1 minute. Let me see if this will work. If it doesn't, well, I'll have to keep doing that, which I do find quite annoying. So right now you're seeing a white screen.
Now we can see your
No,
Canva
now I
page.
can see your Canva
See all
page
the
again.
projects. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see all the projects and thing on the left and Akim on the right.
And present.
Coaching for success and
And you're about to
science.
press present and you press
Right.
present.
Now we see yeah.
Wow. All right.
Now we see introduction.
Are you seeing the entire slide or just introduction?
Well, introduction on the left and Akim on the right.
You're not seeing the write-up on the introduction?
Yeah. That's right.
Oh,
Right.
right.
I
The
am
right,
not seeing
the right
anything.
side of your screen is cut off though, piece of it. The
Is-
blue
I'm not
under
seeing anything.
Akem.
Now we
That's
see
okay.
introduction.
That's okay. That's fine. That's fine. That's all right.
I'm
What's
not seeing anything.
Who's not seeing anything?
Naomi.
Naomi.
Wow. But the others are?
I think I could try to go out and come back in.
You can do that. And in
Yeah.
the meantime, I'm actually going to try something else and see if that will help. All right, so you go out
I'm leaving
and come back
and
in.
I'll
And
come back. Yeah.
all right, class, just hold on one moment for me. Let me try something here. Tell me what you're seeing now.
Introduction.
Yeah.
I'm seeing everything.
Yeah, I
All
seen
right.
everything.
So I think I know what to tell Miss Brooks then. What this platform is something else. It does not like to share in the sense that I was doing that live from off of my cloud. But this is the version that I have saved on my machine, which is not quite the same thing, but if you understand what I mean. So it seems as if when you are pulling from your cloud and it's not their cloud, they seem to mess it up. That is
Well,
quite.
let's hope that's it. I don't know. But
I
let me
mean,
go.
you all are hearing me right now, and I'm seeing a sign here saying my microphone is muted, but y'all are hearing me, not so?
Yes, we are.
Right, let's go. So you would have seen, you might recall seeing on the brochure when you received it about ACAM that would have excited you to come and join us. Something about this course being a capstone. Does everybody understand what it is? Yes?
Excuse Jeremy, his internet went down, so he's not in. He was in, but the internet, right, went down.
All right, just let's hold on one moment. And I find this has happened quite a bit this week. I don't know if more people are at school or what, but is he getting back in?
He's trying to.
Oh, yes, right. I've noticed since UWI has shifted to Teams, if you have Gmail addresses and stuff like that, I don't know what will be happening with Outlook though, but a lot of their stuff is going into your spam. So you have to check your spam and your trash sometimes when things you're supposed to be getting stuff from UWI. Is he in? Can we continue? All right, he might just have to fall in when we do.
He said go ahead.
All
He's
right,
still
great.
trying to get
Right. So as I was saying, you might recall seeing the brochure talking about this course being a capstone, and I was asking you if you understand what the term capstone means. When we say that the course is the program's capstone, what do you think we mean by that?
It sounds like the thing that has put the cap on, like the end, the
And
final.
what
The
could
cover,
that
well,
possibly mean in the context of
It means
university?
your final exam, your final project.
But why is it the cap on? Cap on to what?
It determines whether you
it's
graduate or not.
sealing,
Not
it's
that.
sealing the fate of your progress in the
Lord have
studied field.
Or it's supposed to bring all the things you're learning
And
together
I'm
into
gonna
one
say it
thing.
Thank you very
utilizes
much.
everything you
Oh
would have,
my
It's supposed to
goodness.
contain it, seal it.
the
Kind of.
combination of all of your skills
See,
acquired.
Thank you very much, Joshua and Jiran. I appreciate. Well, it's kill me, you know. Yeah. It is all of the things. It finds a way to get you to reach the all the things that you would have learned throughout the journey of the program and utilize it. So this is where we get to see if you truly understand what you would have been doing in the courses before and the ones that you're doing now. It gives you an opportunity to test out those skills that you were taught or you were shown, and at the same time it gives you the opportunity to okay, he's in. It gives you the opportunity to, how to put it, to work with a project idea or with a project that you had in mind or you might have started working on for some time and utilize this new set of skills that you have to see how best now you can bring this project to reality. Does that make sense?
yes.
Yes. And so because of that, the course utilizes as its point of entry project management and strategic planning. Project management, because for those of you who may have done it before, you know project management is a structured kind of platform or set of tools and techniques. And everything needs a structure, right? Project management is one of the management tools that helps you to see your project in phases, in stages, and allows you to build the project from what I like to say from beginning, middle to the end. But we know that we operate in a very dynamic and complex environment, and you will learn that through Miss Matt Nichols if you haven't as yet. So that when it comes to our work, it must be combined with strategic planning as well. So it's a case of utilizing the project management framework and applying to that strategic management, strategic planning tools and techniques, excuse me, that you will be taught as you go through the course. Any questions so far?
Yeah, Dr. Todd, so we're
Yeah.
just designing a proposal. We're not actually implementing it.
You are doing a little more than that. That's Nivedita.
Yeah.
Yes, you're doing a little bit more than that in the sense that we carry you a step further. Excuse me, and based on that proposal, we want you to write an actual plan, and I will share with you shortly what those plans are. You have a choice out of three. It carries you even a little bit further to that, because just before you submit that plan, that document, you will have to present before a panel of 3 to 5, 1 or 2 industry people. I don't know if any of you all ever saw Shark Tank, but it's a kind of a Shark Tank setting where you have to convince them that this thing that you've been working on for all this time makes sense and is feasible. Excuse me. And of course, the feedback that you get from them is what, of course, you would then add into your document before you submit your final. Does that make sense? Right.
Yeah.
Now, you're not operating alone. Everyone is assigned a supervisor. So depending on the plan that you choose to do, you would then be assigned a supervisor according to our team's competencies. No, you don't choose the document you're going to do first. What I school you or harness your thoughts towards is choosing the project idea first. And of course, it's based on what you may consider to be the need. And then from there, you will know which of the documents you should be generating towards that project idea. Does that make sense? Right. So, as the first slide says, your main aim is to develop project management and strategic planning skills. And we consider these very important to enterprise development. The idea is that what we're teaching you in this course, when you graduate, you can do in your own businesses, you can do in your consultancy, you can in turn, of course, teach your students, because these are skills that will definitely enhance their SBAs. Because now you can get into the realm of business planning, but it is, of course, specific to creative enterprise development. The other thing about what I will be sharing with you is that it is not only applicable to ongoing businesses and concerns, but it could also be for a one-off project, event, or startup. And this is one of the reasons why I like the duality that I have found
No, you don't speak it
between
all but
utilizing
finish.
project
Leo.
and strategic planning.
Finish. Eat the
Because it,
chicken and then come here. What you want to say?
right. Let's go again.
What
You're
did
on
you
the
do?
mic on, eh?
Oh gosh, sorry earlier.
I realized I had new classmates, but I ain't nothing. I'm accustomed.
Yeah, sorry, it's me alone with the two of them today. Just excuse my second.
Well, you will need project planning skills, you see? Look at you come in handy already. Right. Are we seeing the next slide here?
Nope.
Not yet. I don't know if
Don't know if you pressed it again.
I see.
And you know,
Right.
it's how it keeps slipping, it keeps going from one to the next, because I had it up in my PDF thing just now, and it, however, anyway, okay. You seeing it now?
Still seeing introduction.
All right.
That's it.
Once you're seeing it, because just now you would not be seeing it
Yes.
at all.
All right, we're staying here. Slide 4.
Right. Everybody seeing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, developing
So,
research.
yes. So what is the course about? It is about getting you to develop research into a project focus, right? So it's not a case where you just pie out the sky. Okay, yes, you may have a project idea, but you still will need to do research. You would still need to do some preliminary research to see if that project idea that you might have been baking for some time, if it's still relevant now, especially in this post this pandemic context. Is it something that could still happen in this time? And if so, where and how and with whom? You would still need research because, you know, in terms of being sure that this idea is possible or feasible, you need to do some research to get a sense of, has this been done before, and if so, in what ways, and what, how did it fail if it did, or what were the challenges? And of course, you want to ensure that yours is better. Then it's also about you transforming the creative idea into a feasible, winnable, or bankable project. So it's one thing to have a creative idea class, but it's another thing to ensure that it is something that can work. So, for example, you might have had an idea for the longest while that you want to getting to more community related development. Your skill as an artist, let's say you're a visual artist, and you recognize that there's an aspect of your trade, your talent, that could be of benefit to people in a community. Let's say women who, for the most part, are housewives, but they're looking for something to do. They want to create their own little small business kind of unit, cooperative, and you may be good at something like what? What in visual art might be useful? Weaving, sculpting, let's say, right? But that is a good creative idea. However, you would want to go through certain stages of business planning to be sure that it is a feasible and bankable project. Either feasible and bankable that you can charge them for your skills, or feasible and bankable that, let's say, the Ministry of Community Development or UNESCO or CDB would fund your project. Am I making sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
You would recall that I mentioned research. So that is one of the first kinds of research you would have to do there, because you would need to research and find out whether or not these women could afford to pay you. If they can't, look, the business idea gone through the drain already. Right? But if you do further research, you may realize that there's a way in which you can angle it as a not-for-profit, because your thing is that you just want to give back, you want to serve, but you want this thing to go from strength to strength. And so you may do research and realize that there are organizations out there that are giving funding, and therefore you could approach that organization, if it's CDB or UNESCO or Caribbean Export or whoever. So if you notice, we've already started to operate the first two bullets we have there, 2 points, based on our little idea that we're toying with there, trying to teach women in a community some skills that they could create their own business or cooperative. To be able to bring that from that creative idea to a feasible, winnable project, we are concerned that you would learn about project planning, project management, and project implementation. Does anybody know the difference between the three of these? Project planning, project management, and project implementation. Is there a difference? Well, I see commas, so I guess. But what really? Is it a semantical kind of difference? Where's Melina? Oh, all right. Or is it, are there distinct differences between the three of those elements there? Tell me.
I feel like it's three different stages in the process. Sorry.
Different stages, yes. That is correct. And can anyone tell me in a nutshell? Anyone? They are written in order, so Jiron is correct. But can anybody tell me what any of those are? Like, what makes implementation different to planning, and is it different to, is it management? Is that what I have there? Yes.
I think project planning is only sit down meetings, like tech meetings before, like all you get the stuff together before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yes,
not
I'm
sure
listening.
what the difference between management and implementation is.
So planning is what again? Let me hear your plan.
Planning is all the meetings and the preparations and the nitty-gritty details that you ensure in order before you actually start purchasing and getting the stuff. It's like measuring twice, cut once. Planning is the measuring. You know how carpenters
Well,
say that?
Who
Measure twice,
talking
cut
there?
once.
I was
That's Hillary or Naomi? Like, I can't tell who talking. It's
so
Janelle.
Hillary,
That's Janelle.
I was looking at planning as the brainstorming part of the idea.
Correct.
Yeah.
Hillary, you did festival project.
Huh?
You did festival project.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah, you did a thesis.
Pardon me?
Janelle, you did thesis or festival. You did thesis. What had to be? Because I don't think I ever taught you before now. You did?
No, I did my thesis in com studies because I
Yeah.
wasn't sure how the project was sung in it was sung in a little dicey. So I was like, you see
Well,
me?
well,
In
the
com
saying, eh? You could
studies.
run, but you can't hide because here you are. Look at it this way, at least you get a postgraduate qualification for it, right? It's a win-win. Yes, Hillary, kindly repeat what you said there.
It's like
Planning,
brainstorming
Hillary.
the who, the what, about the business, how you're going to deal with the business aspect of
Yeah.
whatever you go to.
But
Yeah.
you said a key word before that. We will get to the who, the what, and all of that next week. But
Benita have a
brainstorm,
kahana. Sorry, guys. Sorry, no, Benita. Didn't really see
that's
that.
okay. Brainstorming. That's a key word there. Yes, Naomi. Tell me.
I am looking at the management aspect, and I
Mhm.
am thinking we are looking at where roles, very specific roles are assigned, yeah, to just that to manage whatever the project is. Where now I'm just thinking again in terms of tech theater, if you want now, where we have very specific roles assigned. You have the stage manager, you have the lighting technician, you have the
So that's
sound
part of
man.
that is
Yeah, so
part of it.
I am thinking that's part of the management team.
That's
So
part
so
of it. That's kind of like
yeah,
what Janelle was saying. But Hillary hit the
yeah,
nail on the head. You see, I want you to think it in an overall encapsulating kind of activity. Like what you're
right.
talking here are some of the actual practical things that you do. But
Mm-hmm.
planning is your phase of brainstorming. So like so this week and next week and so on, you will be planning. As a matter of fact, a lot of what you'll be doing is planning, right? But planning goes through stages in its own rights because you got to start with a little idea and you got to plan and conceptualize it and formulate it to move from an idea to an actual project concept to then it being a proposal to then it being presentable to then it being this bankable winnable thing, you see, which is the plan that you will have. When you take up that document, that plan, you could go to the bank with that. You could say, look, the all of what Miss Joseph taught you is all inside there. This is how this would work. So planning is the brainstorming, you see? Brainstorming. And the brainstorming would entail, for example, the things that Naomi and Janelle mentioned not too long ago. So that's just one aspect. Because there are other things that you have to map out and plan out besides your HR. If I give that a term, like what you just mentioned, Naomi, in terms of who does what. So that's like your HR component. And we will, of course, learn what are some of the other elements, other aspects of that planning that go into that as we go down through the semester. So we understand that planning is brainstorming. So if planning is the brainstorm, what is this thing about management and then implementation? How does that management differ then from what Naomi would have been mentioning there about this person having this job and that one having that job? What would be that activity of project management in there?
I think that it would more entail the process by which you do things, or you start putting things in place. So you know that before this has to happen and that has to happen. You sit and you plan out that part of the process so that
That's
you
right.
manage the project accordingly.
That's right. And this is a very critical bit of information here, class, because people tend to think of project management as only happening like in the context of construction where you physically see the building going up. But if you ask any project manager of a site, he will tell you that the management begins even from the planning stage because you got to manage resources in terms of you got to map out, do I have enough money to go and buy the materials? Do I need to plan and partner with somebody to get that money? Do I have the right workmen for this one? Do I start this job now? Like I go through a lot of that. That meeting I just had there was trying to convince some people, no, we can't do that project now because I have all of this in front of me. So that project management is also about an assessment of the resources and a determination as to how best you will be able to deploy those resources when you get to implementation. You see? So, in a sense, project management is also involved in the project planning stage. Can you imagine that for a moment based on what we were just saying there? Because you gotta try to imagine what it's going to be like so that when you are doing your planning in terms of your concept note, your one page and your proposal, that what you have there is sound, it's realistic. It's not a case where you write it down there because it looked good on paper. And you can easily do that, huh? It is so easy to do that because, and I'm sure you have experienced this with your own students, with how they would approach doing the SBAs for the course that is appended or what is similar to this. Because you could write it and it looks really good. But if you have to really go through the stages like what we will be learning here, you will see how so many projects really are not bankable or winnable. That term that I have there on the slide, winnable. Okay, and so we want to be sure that we are spending our time on a project idea that can really yield. I would like to see your projects become reality when you graduate, you know. So you want therefore to take full advantage of the stages and the steps that we will go through and be able to experience and understand how something like management that has to even happen in the implementation stage can begin all in the planning stages. Clear? Everybody's clear on that? Nice. So implementation now sounds like a kind of a no-brainer, I suppose. What's implementation? Because we get planning and we get management now.
It
So
turns into a reality. It's off the ground. It's actually doing.
yeah.
And you monitor progress to see one if to continue, if it's not
Yes.
working out, or what you might have to tweak for your goals to be achieved.
That's right.
The
Brilliant,
purpose.
Joshua. Exactly. And you see that key point that Joshua made there to decide whether or not to continue. So that for me, implementation begins from when you hit like semester 2, when you have the supervisor and you are building this document and getting ready for your Shark Tank. Depending on what you choose, you can go ahead and test it out a little bit. That's always advisable and encouraged. We recognize, of course, given the times we're in, you may be limited, in terms of being able to go out and engage face to face. But if it's possible and you can engage with your publics online, so be it. But the emphasis is on that document building. Again, for me, implementation begins somewhere inside there as you are building that document because it has to be real. It's not a pretend thing where you go and do research and you go and download and pay 30 or 40 US for a plan and you submit it. It's not that at all. But the expectation is that you're working on something that you either have been involved with before or that you are planning on doing. And so it means, therefore, that we're talking about real people, a real product or service. Trinidad and Tobago is real. You all are real. And the market is real. So implementation starts to kick in, especially as you get to that stage of the document where you are trying to convince the supposed investor that this is worth investing in. Everybody's clear on that?
Yep.
Right, great. Nice.
Dr. Tal, this is John.
Yes,
Question. Yeah,
sure, go ahead.
you were mentioning we have to take into consideration the whole post-COVID environment. So whatever project that we are choosing, we have to keep that in mind and make sure that it's not something that requires pre-COVID structure. So
Well, I mean to say, when you say post, I said post, but I really meant during. But at the same time, maybe I should now correct myself because I'm one of the ones who advocate that we are living in our future. Anything that we're doing now, we must do with the understanding that it should be impacting positively for us when we are able to come around the bend from this somewhat. Now, I know people say this is the new normal, but for us operating in the cultural and creative ecosystem, this cannot be the new normal. We agree on that?
Yep.
yeah,
Right. At some point in time, we have to come around a bend. The question is how big that bend will be, how deep that bend will be, and whether or not we'll be going around that bend freely or within parameters as we face right now. Right? We've already been affected because we have no carnival. Let's see, Janelle got knocked out.
she
Oh,
just said that current
no.
went.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we know that we have already been affected. We've got the first, well, we say we got the first chop, but let's say we got the second chop because it's clear that we're not gonna go up Pyramid and see Parang. So the Parang festival has already been forced to go into a virtual kind of context. At least I heard them saying that. I don't know how that would work out because I mean when they were proposing that, excuse me, you could have still gathered up to 20 or so. So to come back to, it was Jeremy who asked the question. You're really looking at coming up with a project that is feasible and is workable in these times. If it is that you want to be innovative to even to contemplate, as I say, the future, so be it. I think that any project that does that will be welcomed because I think we have to encourage each other to look past where we can possibly be when we can certainly go back out again. It's just a matter of time. It's also a matter of, I suppose, the extent to which we think as the person driving the project can carry a project thinking in that post-COVID scenario. You maybe want to come up with something that is giving a solution and is a strong business idea in the context of COVID, if you see what I'm saying. I remember some students had to come up with, actually it was my students, I say some students, but it was for my enterprise internship for the arts course. And they had decided that they were going to do a pop-up market. The class was small, and ironically everyone in the class were involved in the wire brass subsector, variously, who was a bending wire for it, selling all kinds of things. But ironically, all of them were involved in that. So I allowed for them to pursue a project around that, and they came up with doing a pop-up market. Initially, of course, this would have been a real, because that course requires you to do it for real. You have to actually launch the thing. So if things had stayed normal, they would have had a pop-up market featuring the wire brass subsector, all of the various businesses and services that gravitate around that at the CFA. When this thing came and happened, they decided that they would find ways to make it a virtual reality, which they did, which was quite interesting. And so, what it ended up being, instead of a trading of actual products and services, it became a trading of ideas and ideas and networking, exchanging of services to say that okay, well, I bring in beads of this kind, you bend wire, we can probably do something together. It was quite interesting. So the point of my examples and my explanation is to say that the sky is the limit for you, and I will get to that shortly when I talk about that. It's where your comfort lies, you see. But what I don't want is for you to contemplate projects that are in the pre-COVID time because it makes no sense. It really makes no sense. We know we will come around the bend, but we don't know what that bend is going to look like. And what we do know for sure, based on how we cannot even gather, is that it's not going to be the old same for us in the creative and cultural economy. Agreed?
Yeah.
Right. Any other questions, or we can go again? Right? So we did 1, 2, 3, third, fourth. Well, how ironic, because what I was just saying there relates to that, which is that the course encourages you to blend creativity with project management. So we don't want that you come up with some boring everyday thing like yawn. We've heard that before. That's been done. You know, we don't want that, but we want that you really. So your strength coming into the program as postgraduate students is that you all have training in some area of creativity. Agreed? Correct. Exactly. And so the course encourages you to stand strong on that, but then you're blending it with what you're going to be taught, which is the project management skills and what have you, to end up with something that is quite innovative. Let me give an example from my son. He had a course to do, I don't remember the name of the course. I think it's some design thing, 3D something or the other. But he's not a design fella really. He's the old school artist. He prefers to paint, and he's a paint on canvas kind of guy. So he real kind of traditional for his young self. But here it is, he had this 3D course to do. He don't 3D design, he don't really like design. And the course required them to come up with an idea that would solve a problem in their field in this COVID time. So you had to first identify the problem, and then based on the problem you identified, try to come up with an artifact that could solve that problem. So the problem he came up with is how would people get art now? Because, you know, we in COVID time, how will you can't deliver, they say it on services, and I don't even know, can we post yet? Because I know at one point in time you couldn't even post anything out of Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know how many of you know that. You could ship stuff, but you can post anything. Right? And art tends to be posted, actually. Anyway, but he likes fine art. So he decided, you know what? It could be in the first instance an app that would allow people to go on there and see um, what they want to choose based on a series of fine art pieces from various artists. So it's like a marketplace for young emerging artists. And then he decided, well, you could create now some kind of tool, some kind of piece of equipment now, like a particular kind of a photocopier that when you got the art and you printed it, it will come out close to what the artist would have rendered, like a digital version. So that is an example of what I'm talking about, where his comfort zone in creativity is fine art. That's what he likes, that's what he loves. He not big on design, he ain't know much about that. So he used this comfort zone and following the guidelines of the course, which was kind of like, that's like design, what we would call design entrepreneurship actually, right? Using that, he then mapped that onto the requirement, which is a kind of project management kind of thing to end up with his innovation. What I'm showing you is, class, that once you stand strong on your creativity, because that's where you have your strength, your realm of expertise, and you follow the parameters that are being taught to you as you go along, you are going to come up with an innovative idea. But if you treat it like it is the opposite of what the course is called, which is practicum, like if it's like thesis research, you won't yield what you want in terms of creativity and innovation management. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is encouraging you actually to stand on your strength. But it is asking you to take that strength and build on that to arrive at something that is quite innovative. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And then last but not least, event management, and I have where applicable. And I suppose at this time we're talking about something in the virtual realm, you know. So where applicable, if it is that you want to work on an event, what would make it dynamic? What would attract people to come on to the platform to view it and stuff like that? So that is still an option, right? Because we know that we can certainly monetize event experiences online. So that is also something that if you are inclined in that direction, you may also do so. Okay, let's move on now. And I'll say that for now. I want to get by the course requirements. You can always read them. Still clear? You can still clearly see? Or is that too small?
It's on the same slide from before. Hasn't
Still
changed
on
yet.
slide from before.
Same
On the
side.
same slide as before because it keeps
Yeah.
switching.
Yeah, right. Go
All
to
right.
card. You want to
Right,
back.
Right.
course requirements.
You on the
Okay, so
assignments. I think that's you right. You meet her
uh,
one before.
no, I skipped that one. Don't worry about that. You can read that in your own timing, as the trainees would say. But I want to be sure that you're able to pick up everything I have here. Are you seeing these clearly? Where I'm moving my mouse?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So these four little post-it notes here basically capture what you would be doing. So project idea on one page, project proposal, project presentation, final submission. I believe you're going to have two project presentations. You're going to present on your proposal. So I believe somewhere in here, I'm going to have you do a proposal presentation before you submit your final proposal. And then you will have, at this juncture here, you're going to have supervisors. You're going to be assigned a supervisor, and you will work with your supervisor then in semester two, and somewhere in March or so, yeah, you will have your Shark Tank. March or no, it can't be March, April. And then somewhere in May or so, May to June, you'll have your final submission. No, it sounds like a lot of time, doesn't it? Does that sound like a lot of time? Well, I'm glad you say so because it could trick you. You would think that you have a lot of time, but remember now, you're learning this in stages, and then you are also doing two courses that you are learning as you go along, which, depending on what you choose as your assignment, you will be using what is coming out of that course to develop your project idea. Um, so you don't want time to run away from you. It's very easy for that to happen. I mean, we'll still have some kind of a Christmas. And by the time you hit January, it's like, what? I have to get started on this. You will receive templates for a kind of general templates for each one of these ones, depending on what you choose. But they're usually very detailed documents. So you will need the time to really brainstorm and flesh it out because the practicum becomes is basically like a mini thesis. You see? So let's take a look at the assignment now. So students are required to develop a report entailing one of the following. One. So it's not one and a piece of another. It's one. And next week, we will talk a little bit about what each one of these is, but we are in postgrad and you can certainly Google, right? So you can either choose to do a feasibility study of a new enterprise or a new venture. You could do a business plan of a new or established enterprise. And I will amend that a little bit to put project as well, because you could work on a startup project or on a project that you started working on, but you want to give it some work. Maybe it needs a strategic marketing plan. Okay, so you can either choose between a feasibility study or a business plan or a strategic marketing plan. Now, this is where the courses that you're doing right now are going to come in handy, right? A feasibility plan is where you have to explore and be sure that the project or the venture that you have in mind can work. And that is the first one I'm going to teach. So what happens is that I teach you how to do each one of those things in terms of the components. I explain it to you, but I also carry you through the project management process so that you understand how you build your documents as you go. Making sense? Right? But for the other two, the two courses that you're doing right now directly relate to those because you're doing strategic management and strategic planning, including the business Canva that I believe you all will be working on, can be incorporated into a business plan, should be. A business plan, as well as a feasibility plan, as well as a strategic marketing plan, needs the financial plan. And of course, Miss Joseph would have taught you how to do that. And she will actually come back in here and give you a guest lecture as well on that so that it directly relates to the project. She will identify for you now what are the different financial statements that you would have learned and how then you would use those now to help with your project planning. So far, so good? Right? Strategic marketing plan. Well, I don't know if Ms. Brooks has given you your assignment as yet, but whatever that is going to feed in to your strategic marketing plan if you choose to do that one. Now, what I usually suggest to students is, if possible, you don't have to. If you do have this burning project or this burning business venture that you've been trying to work on, you can use it to do your various assignments because it means at the end of the day, you would have gotten some good, strong feedback from experts at the UWI, and your documents will be ready and rearing to go by the time you graduate. So if you have a particular business idea or a particular project or a business venture that you have been trying to work on for the longest while, or you have been, you can easily use that to do whatever are the assignments were relevant for your marketing course, whatever are the assignments were relevant for strategic management. And then, of course, you could decide then to make that the focus of what you have to do for your business plan if you choose to do that, or your feasibility plan if you choose to do that, or your what's the one I left out? Strategic marketing plan. Give me one moment, class, please. Yes, class. Sorry about that. Any questions? This is a good time to take questions. Comments. Electricity come back yet from Janelle? Any questions?
So Dr. Tell Jeremy again. So if we have this burning idea or burning venture that we want to get into, we can use that for the entire semester.
You could. You wouldn't be writing back the same thing, trust and believe, because each course requires something different. Yeah. But you could. You could. I've had students who've done that. Sometimes it's different angles. So I remember when Liz Montano did this course. For her, because she was my student, my practicum student, she did an export plan. Back then we had the marketing plan. You could have done a marketing plan or export plan. She did an export plan for Masha, which they did use. For the practicum, she worked on a museum. For my strat course, she worked on an aspect of the museum. So you may find that that idea or that business venture that you have, there are different parts of it or different activities you might have been toying with. And so depending on the requirements of the assignment you have with the other lecturers, you could take that and make that the focus. So for example, let's take Jaron. Let's look at Jaron as talent. Though I can't remember, you play an instrument? I don't, but
I play the bass.
you play bass, right? But you're also a DJ.
Yes, ma'am.
So, huh?
Yes, ma'am. That's an
Right.
instrument too.
So let's look at Jaron as a product. Jaron, it may be that whilst people know him as DJ, yes, it's true, DJ Rockers. It now come. Um, he is a very talented bass player, but that may not be very well known. And so he might decide for Miss Brooks' course that if the assignment, well, the assignment has to be something on marketing. It might even be on online too. It might be a digital marketing something. He might decide that he will make that the focus of that course. But that now can't be the practicum because the practicum now, if you wanted to stay in the vein of marketing, practicum say you have to do a strategic marketing plan. So now it maybe he has a business, so he might decide, okay, I'm going to do a strategic marketing plan for my business. Or it may be that he was thinking of doing some online something based on himself as a DJ. So he may decide he wants to do a feasibility plan on that. Right? But the point is the focus remains J-Ron, Remy, DJ rocker / bass player. Do you understand that, Jeremy?
Yeah.
But the point is all of the assignments, because of what they're asking for, allow him to dissect the product. Jaron Remy, DJ Raucous bass player. Any other questions about that? Melena, you're very quiet. She there or she not there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening very
Right.
intently.
Right, right. I think they would say there that you're there in body but not in spirit because they're not hearing you.
No. I taking it all in.
Okay.
I'm wondering if my ideas are, feasible, but it will get
Yeah,
there.
don't worry. We'll go through the exercises. You will know. You will know. Don't worry. Any other questions or comments? All right, let's go again. Let's see which slide I put us on.
Yes, I actually have a comment. Hi, y'all. I'm back.
Hi.
Can I have just like a 5-sentence synopsis of what?
Oh my God. Lord of mercy. I don't know if I could do that one. Or let's try now.
Just basically read the page that's in front of you, General.
Yeah, you
This
see.
this is the main assignment.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right, cool, that.
But don't worry, I'm recording it and you'll have these slides, so you should be fine. Right. Let's go again. So it's so interesting that Melina should say, I'm here wondering if what I'm thinking about my projects are feasible. You see in that slide there? So first consideration. So even though I just showed you this, everyone's still seeing the slides, right? Even though I just showed you this is not where we start. Is everybody following me? Is everybody with me or I've lost everyone?
We here.
Yeah,
Right. So I'm saying to you, even though this is what we just discussed, because I needed you to understand the assignment, that's not where we start. This is where we start. Right? So what are you interested in working on? Do you have the skills to do it? If not, Can you acquire these skills in a reasonable time frame? Because remember, even though you are doing planning, ACAM, DCFA, and University of West Indies wants to know that what you are working on is real. And you can't fake it, you know. You see where you come by that Shark Tank business there? That is when you get licked up. It has to be real. Who would you be willing to work with? Right? Are you able to immerse yourself with a group to attain the support? That's if you're partnering with somebody. So that's not a have to. And before I give you this slide, I'm going to amend that. Right? But if it is that you have to partner with someone or partner with people, even if it's in terms of your stakeholders, right? Can you get the buy-in? I mean, let's even think of my earlier example of the women who I wanted to get into the business of showing them how to do pottery and weaving. You know, that this comment here would still apply to me, not so, because I would need to be sure that I'm getting their support and they're willing to believe that I have their interests at heart. You know, sometimes people have those very good ideas, and then when you look, the community gone or the market gone, they're not interested in what you have to offer. A lot of creators have actually experienced that over this period. You know, they are popular on stage for real, but online is a different story. Did you notice that? And so the question is, I've seen DJs who I know would shake down a party, and man, you gone in their life, could there? It rough, you know. It's 5 people and thing, you know. It rough to all, you know. I said, cool boy, this market rough.
It's
But it,
saturated.
sorry?
It's saturated. The market is saturated. Everybody's online.
Yes, the market is saturated, and then you have so many other things pulling your interest. I mean, even I believe, even cable itself, I don't know how many people really watch cable now. And I did do a check because I was doing some work for somebody. People have actually pulled out their cable during this time. More and more people are using sticks and they're on the Netflix and that kind of thing. So the thing is that this is still a valid point I'm making here, in the sense that you got to be sure that who you're trying to appeal to, are you able to immerse yourself with them, with the market? Meaning to say that however you communicate with them, however you reach them, and this is where Miss Brooks' course comes in, you know, will you get their buy-in and consistent and continual support? Can you think of instances where other products or services you've seen sounded really good, seemed really good, but then, you know, they couldn't make? Any example at all? Janelle, you still here or you got knocked out again? Or you still there?
No, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm a kind of working apparently, and well, so I'm just chilling.
That happens. You would have had to come out, go out and come back in. That's what was
It's
happening.
alright. It's not serious.
Can you all think of any business idea, any product or service where sounded really good, but then when it really started to unfold, like, whoo, pressure.
The fire festival.
Yes. I showed that to my festival management class last year. Yes, the fire festival. What's his name again?
Jarul and the other fellow.
Yeah, Rule and the other fellas. The other fella name I was
So
trying to
everybody
remember.
remember Jarul. Nobody remember the next man.
I could see the next man face, but I can't remember
Yes,
his name right
yes,
now.
yes. Seth, I think his name was Seth
No,
something. Or
not Seth, but he have a name
no,
like, but he ain't Seth. I remember Seth. Seth is one of my favorite names. He ain't Seth. But the Fire Festival, that's a perfect example. If you don't know it, you could go watch it on Netflix. Any other example? That's a very good one. What else?
Billy McFarlane is his name.
Oh, right. That's him.
Yeah, that's what Classy was talking about yesterday in class with the
Yeah, yeah,
crisis
Yeah.
management.
What's another example of sounded really good on paper, quite enticing, but then when it actually happened or tried to happen, it didn't make the grade? None? They don't have any in pan? Everything in Pan work out good? What about when they had the VVIP in Pan?
The greens thing with the
We
pool and
can't
Yeah,
see
I'm
thing.
now going to say
Yes.
that the
yeah,
greens,
can't
when
see
they
good
had the pool
green
and
as a whole. Oh
The
gosh.
party. The greens on a
If
whole.
you gonna do it the right way,
and
but
I
never also we would not have a
call
bacchanal
it
road.
after
Also everybody
something
still in
village
the
or something like that.
Correct.
You ever see how disaster cause new innovations? If it wasn't, if they just stick with the thing, all now so we would not have a bacchanal road. All you know that, right?
The road
Ev-
is epic, so we thank God for that, you know.
Everybody would have been in pan, normal, clutching the chain under the Scotch tent or the mobile tent or Caesar's Army tent, and I can't even remember all the other things that were there. Watching for when it dark and all that ralala. But this greens thing, and even when they had the VVIP one, remember that one?
No, but that's the one we were talking about, the one with the pool. That was a pop down. The greens, I think, worked fine. What was the problem that caused the greens to go? I don't think it was
Security.
I don't think it was
That's right.
profitable.
Go ahead, Malena.
I don't think, well, to me, what I remember, well, I could be wrong, but it was a twofold thing. They were spending more money than they were making on the greens. And then because it wasn't a punch and bagel thing, so they said. And then when the new um, executive came in, they took it over. Instead of making it into the greens, they made it into whatever the thing was, where they had a kiddie part for children and all that, which I think is the same thing with the pool.
Yes, that's a
But
distraction.
But
Unless you're
yeah,
telling me that is
because
a
they had to cut the
priority,
note
they know
stand
gonna
because they were
happen.
saying that it was too distracting for the bands.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's like pan adjacent. Like, what's that?
That's a
That's a
separate party
very
in
good
itself.
example. Or
Exactly.
is it that we only have examples of this in the realm of events, though? Do we not have it in terms of any products or services in music? Or any other genre, music, or any other, not genres, or any other area of the creative industries?
I mean, I
Well,
would
for me, I could talk about a concept we have, and advertising was good, preparations was good, and then when we showed up in Queen's Hall, only 50 people in the audience.
Ooh, that was what by
So that
Papa.
was with that was with tags, the music school I taught in,
Yeah.
and we had this big gala. We were supposed to have this big gala concert in Queen's Hall to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the school. So we had like this whole set of events leading up to it, and we were real practicing, we were real advertising.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was there, everything put in place, and then when we reached to perform, 50 people in the audience. So
My word.
somewhere along the line, marketing didn't really work per se in our favor. So
Mm-hmm.
of course, we made a huge loss of that. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's another one. I like how it says somewhere along the line, because somewhere along the line for me translates lack of proper project planning. Isn't just marketing, but chances are if you had to delve into it, you would
Hmm.
see that there probably was some project drift and all kinds of things going on. Trying to do too much with so little kind of thing.
One person trying to do too much. That's probably
Right.
just what it
Right.
was.
Yep. So that is a project planning challenge. I am thinking of things that sometimes happen in the fashion world that flop. I'm thinking of even in music, one hit wonders. Um, we have it in soca sometimes as well. I'm thinking of even sometimes.
I
Sorry.
question that. Well, how come you would say one hit wonders falls into that category? If they had the hit, is it that the follow up? You mean the
Yeah, they
or the
don't normally. That's
follow-up?
the only hit they ever had.
So then the hit is not the problem. The product, which is the artist, is what has failed.
I would be inclined to say similar to what Melina was saying there. Many times it's marketing. You and I know that sometimes it's not that music sound good. is the capacity to promote the music and reach audiences and reach the market, is what gets the music selling. You might not be able to sing, but it's how the music can be put out there. It's like the point I made in there on the slide about buy-in. There are many people who can't sing, but they have hit records. Not so? And many hit records. So it's again, it comes back down to planning and marketing, you see. So that's why I use that as an example. One hit bam and never to be seen or heard again. Yeah. Right. So we understand that. And I mean, the point that I wanted to make following up from asking about those examples, and we've already made it, was what do you think it is that would have caused these things to fail or to flop? And in every instance, it's a lack of proper planning. It's a lack of planning. It's a lack of understanding the stages in um, project conceptualization, project development, project implementation, and project realization. If you don't understand those things, it does not matter how good the project is, how creative it is not going to be sustainable. Everybody understands that? So this is why we need to have going along or create, sorry?
I was just wondering, Dr. Tull, wouldn't contracts as well limit the way people could implement their project freely?
Yes,
so
sometimes.
as well.
Yes, sometimes. And thankfully, we have Miss McNichol Stevenson, and this is the purpose of your seminar on the Friday, because she will take you through those kinds of issues so that even when you come to present at your Shark Tank, you all know your do's and don'ts. You know exactly um, how, from the legal standpoint, it should be operating. So yes, you're correct. That is also one. It's like, for example, some of your colleagues, the ministry said that you all will give packages to children who don't have devices. And some of your colleagues' idea of packages is to photocopy or to scan reams and reams and reams of books to send off to the children for when the parents come and pick up. And that is infringement. So that lack of planning in terms of what that really should entail, if we talk about packages, clearly is absent. Because what that meant was teachers having to, just as what we do at university, to plan out material and then put it in a package, exercises or what have you, for the children to do. And of course, encourage the parents to still buy the textbooks, kind of thing. So yes, the intellectual property concerns and the general legal contracts can sometimes inhibit what is perceived as a great idea. That's a fact. Right? So let's go again. Right. I believe this is the last place. Yes, I want to discuss this, and this is where we'll stop today, because I don't want to overwhelm. I want you all to actually have enough time to contemplate. So the first thing I want you to consider is, what is a project? If someone had to ask you what is a project,
Sorry, excuse
what
me,
are,
Dr. Tull.
yes?
I'm not actually seeing any of the things that are written on the white paper. It's very,
No,
very
nothing is written there yet. I'm going to fill it in based on what you all say, and I'm going to send it. Nothing is written there quite yet. Just little reminders for me. So all we have here right now is this. This is like a kind of a brainstorming board here.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing what is a project, but all the little words on the other paper, I was just saying that it's very small, so I can't really see what it really
No, and I'm saying to you, there's nothing here. When I
Okay.
say there's nothing here, I haven't placed anything here yet.
Okay.
So when we discuss this, Before I send it to you tonight, I would have typed in what we would have discussed.
Okay, cool.
Right? All that is here is like a template thing. Your awesome idea goes here. That's all that is.
Okay. I was quite
So
confused.
I'm waiting to hear what are your awesome ideas now.
Oh,
What is a project? If someone had to ask you what's a project, what are some of the things that you would consider in trying to explain what is a project?
an accomplishment within a time frame.
Aye, good. So an accomplishment within a time frame. Nice. Olima, would you like to further explain that? Or graduate of festival project? Must see if you remember.
With a particular aim.
All right, that's another one. Project
Implement-
must have a particular aim.
The the planning and implementation of an idea, coming together and coming to fruition, I think.
Yes, stage to stage.
Yeah.
Yes. So idea has to come to fruition. So it has to go through stages from idea to fruition. Yes. What's another one? Anything else? What is a project? We going good. We have 3 so far. How many sticky notes on that thing there? Not like 10? Come now. All you know start. I should get one from everybody. I have 3 so far. Must have a name. We said accomplishment within a time frame. That's correct.
What about collaboration? Like, who you collaborate with to get it done, and
Right? So must, well, not must, but can engage others in specific roles. So this is like what Naomi was talking about before. Very good.
Is it
What's
like
another one?
A
is it like a
feasibility.
program? Okay.
Was that Hillary? Is Hillary speaking or is
I was
it
saying is a program. Is it like a
Univ?
program that
Sorry, you have to speak up,
individually
Hillary. I'm not
carries
hearing you
out?
very well.
Okay, is like a program that an individual or a group of individual will carry it out?
Well, we have
Like
that already because that's what is it Melina who just mentioned I can engage others in specific roles
uh,
in terms of having stakeholders and whatnot. What's another
uh,
one?
It's like a feasibility study of an idea to see how you could bring it into reality.
Well, it's a project. No, a project requires a feasibility study. But what say it another way? I know what you're trying to say, but go at it in a different way. A project requires a feasibility study.
I don't know how to continue where she was going with that, but a project would be like a series of tasks,
Right?
that happen in order to get to a particular aim and get the aim done
Right.
successfully.
So what I'm hearing is that there's a particular structure. And I hope you're thinking about that because there's something there. Right? So yes, a series of tasks that have to happen in a particular way or order. So there's structure there.
So a project is meant to achieve a specific goal.
Right? So it must have an aim and it must have a goal. Do we recognize that those are two different things there? Project must have an aim and must have a goal. Let me see if all you're thinking tonight
that's
or
compared to, like, like when you're doing a lesson plan, you have your objectives and then you have your aims.
yeah,
So I
right.
guess it's
Yeah.
something similar.
You have your objectives and you have your intent, your expected outcome. So it must have a name, which is like your objectives, and it must have a goal, which is like your intent or your expected outcome. Very good. How much we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm still waiting on the visitor. I can't get my feasibility point at all. But the thing is, if I could help, the project,
A project has to be feasible. A successful project has to be feasible.
The project must be structured in a way that it's bankable, it's winnable, it's feasible. So the project must be, let's say, designed to ensure that it is bankable. Because remember, we are still in a business course. Money important, you know. Right? That is bankable, which is the dollars and cents, and sustainable. Because that's the point of having to do the feasibility, which I think is you understood that part. But we do the feasibility plan to ensure this, if it is that you're doing a feasibility study. All right, how many we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not bad at all. Anything else anyone can think of?
Is this something that can be monitored, like ongoing, monitored, that kind of thing? Like even when you're, let's say the project is building up to something and then something happens, but you still need to monitor it after.
Yes,
I don't
project
know
should be
if I see
monitored
that.
and have feedback.
So
Yes, very good.
is it something that needed to be upheld? Like you it must something you presented or promoting all the time?
Sorry,
So
it must be.
upheld or presented or promoted. Like
How are
you
you?
have like an image to keep.
So this sounds like you're marketing and you're imaging. So the
Yeah,
project should have goodwill.
goodwill, yeah.
I'm going to put goodwill and buy-in because the goodwill is if it's a not-for-profit, but buy-in would be in terms of going to marketplace that you could be competitive. So goodwill, buy-in, and competitive should be competitive.
Can it be something that is malleable and flexible?
It should because your project should be able to adjust to changing times.
Yeah. I could follow the aim too, but yes.
Yes. So a project should be designed to be flexible. I think the word is resilient. That's what we're using now. Right. We have the 10 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Very good. Excellent. So I will type these in and send to you all. So the thing is, class, as you are contemplating your idea, this is the checklist that you will first run your idea by. Let me see if I can pull up the other what is the no, I'll send it to you because it will take me too long to pull that up right now, and I done see already what going on. It will freeze again, right? I am going to send to you as well on the platform a little exercise, a little strategic management game that will help you to come up with an idea. You will use it as many times. So you don't just work it with one and say, oh gosh, but you can work it many times for many different ideas until you arrive at the one that you're comfortable with. And when you do that, you look at this checklist, you'll say, okay, can I accomplish this in a time frame? Does this require me to involve stakeholders, groups, specific, and if so, who? What is the objective I would have of this? What would be my expected outcome? Right? Can this go through the phases? Can I get from an idea to fruition? Can I get this from an idea to a real project? Right? And so on and so forth. All right. So we're taking some baby steps first because we want to be comfortable with what we come up with. I'm very cognizant of the fact that you had no sense of what the practical was about. So I would want that you are able to arrive in the first instance at something that you're comfortable working with. That's very important, right? You must not choose something that sounds really grand, but then you know you don't really like it, or you know it's not something that you will enjoy, or you know it's something that you will get bored with. Choose something that excites you, that ignites you. Choose something that you will have the time for. Choose something that you will enjoy doing, that you will spend hours on and you don't even realize that the time has gone. Choose something that you believe in, that you have a passion for, that you could certainly sell that to the panel when you get around to that time next year. And most importantly, if possible, choose something that can be of benefit to you and to others. Whether it is that it will become a profitable venture, or if it is that it will become something that will make a difference to other people's lives in a transformative way. Fair enough? Any questions or comments, final comments? I believe we are at point 4 now. Comments and wrap up. Any questions? No? Everybody good? Comfortable? All right. So I'm going to go and type these in quickly now on the slide, and I will post the lecture, the recording, as well as the PowerPoint slides, as well, of course, the worksheet that I want you to do. Right? Great. All right. So I'll see you all next week. Enjoy your weekend and the rest of your week. Bye.
Thank you. Same to you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you,
Bye,
Dr.
Doc. Thank you so
Tal.
much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
See you all
Bye.
tomorrow, class.
Happy New Year, happy class.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, guys.